Hey, trailblazers and tarmac tacklers, welcome back to the Maximum Mileage Running Podcast. And I am your host, Nick Hancock.
And I am your co-host, Faye Johnson.
Hi, Faye. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you, Nick?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Glad it's, again, recording on a Friday, even though this goes out on a Thursday. I'm glad it's the end of the week because that means it's the weekend to do lots of nice running-related things, although I'm not doing a lot of running or racing or anything at the moment. How's your running going?
My running is going all right. I have 2 weeks until the rescheduled Winter Trail Half, which is on the 7th of October. It is probably one of my favourite races. I've done it I've lost track, but probably nearly 10 times, but I love it. And quite excited for the fact that it's in October, not January. So it probably won't be as cold, but equally it's just a beautiful spot and it's just so nice to run there. So
where is it?
It's Coed Forest in South Snowdonia, and if anyone has not been, you should go. But yeah, it's a Run Coed event and one of many that Matt puts on, but they're fantastic events, and for anyone new to trail running, experienced, you get something out of it, to be fair. And I've been going up there for nearly 10 years now. So yeah, one of my favourite places to go. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Yeah, you're running well. I'm still your coach, even though you're coach on here, and I've got my coach. And we believe in coaching so much that we have our own coaches and all that. And you're running well. Your training's going well. The boxes are always green with you. What did I give you this week in terms of your training?
I had mile reps on Monday.
Yeah.
On the trail to try and replicate the race, and then a couple of nice foundation runs in the week, which is always nice because it feels less stressful. And then today I had long hill reps, so 6-minute hills.
Have you been out and done them yet?
Yeah, done those.
The box is green now. I hadn't refreshed my screen.
If Faye's not done it by lunchtime, she's probably not doing it.
I've noticed that. Yeah, no, you are. Fair play. You're an early bird. You are an early bird with your training. So yeah, good.
Good. And how about you, Nick? How's the recovery from the hernia?
Well, yes, at time of recording, yes, I am still in hernia recovery mode. I've had surgery on Tuesday last week, and since I've had the surgery, I was really patient up until the surgery. And since I've had the surgery, I feel like I've just been really impatient. So we're 10 days past surgery now, and I'm like itching. I'm like, my number came through for the Cardiff Half Marathon, which is on the 1st of October, which is next weekend. And I seriously am looking at that race number and giving it consideration.
And I've told you not to.
I won't. I am not that silly.
You can go and watch, and that's it.
Well, I'm definitely going to go and watch because I've got 3 people that I coach running it. So, no, for me, it's all about hernia recovery. I did go on Zwift yesterday on the bike for 30 minutes, dead easy, just pedaled over. I was actually I had a catch up with one of my athletes whilst I was on the bike. It was that easy. I wasn't huffing and puffing down the phone, which was really nice. So came out of that unscathed and pretty happy. So yeah, I will just remain patient, and I'm going to start doing some structured cycling training next week, as in get back to my normal 6 days a week of training. But it'll just be 6 easy cycles next week, like 30, 40 minutes tops. And then the week after I'll sort of assess where I'm at. And then I might add in like a session, like a Zwift hard session, just to see how that goes. I just want to build fitness because I will have lost some. I haven't really run or done anything for a little while because of the hernia. I kept cycling, but my watch hates me. I've gone from VO2 max 58 to 51 apparently.
Those watches are killer confidence.
Oh well, it's all a load of shit anyway. And anybody who knows me and anybody who coaches, who's coached by me, will know that I tell them to ignore all that sort of stuff. Sometimes though, you can't help but look at it and go, "Oh, fuck off, Garmin."
Yeah, I don't use Garmin, so I don't have that that torture. So yeah, my watch doesn't tell me that.
Yeah. Should we do some quick shout outs for our athletes? Because we've got some big stuff going on this weekend. Do you want to go first?
Absolutely. Yes. So I have one of my athletes running this weekend, and it's Georgie Abrook. And Georgie's been with me since the beginning of the summer. and has done some fantastic training, really good. But unfortunately, in the last couple of weeks, has had a bit of a flare up with an injury. So we've had to kind of reassess her race plan, but she is running and she's chuffed. It's great. She's excited, and she's doing Berlin Marathon on Sunday.
Amazing.
Which is an iconic race. Very exciting. There'll be lots of fantastic, elite runners on the start line, which would be amazing to see. So yeah, all the best to Georgie for Sunday.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm predicting that both world records are going to go, male and female.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think Elliot's going to do it though. I think it's going to be, and I forgot his name, but the
agree. Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see. So I've got, and I can't lay claim to this because he's only just started with me, but I do coach a world level triathlete. He's just joined me to start training for the Dragons back next year. But I'm going to give him a shout out because he's doing the World Triathlon Championships this weekend in his age group in Spain. So good luck to Simon Nicol. I've got Bex Dunn, who has been with me for nearly 2.5 years now. And this is the third time she's doing the North Norfolk Coastal Trail Half Marathon. It was her first ever trail half marathon. And, the first year she did it. And then last year she beat previous years, and she'll beat previous years again. So she continues to improve and do some really good stuff. So good luck to Bex. Then I've got Sean Rafferty, who another one that's been with me for ages, nearly 2 years that me and Sean have worked together. He is doing the Scottish half marathon. He's actually returning from a pelvic fracture. Yeah, he took a bit of time out because of that, but he's getting right back to form now. And I think he's probably going to do a half marathon PB. So good luck to Sean. And then I've got Daryl, who is quite new with me, only 2 months. I think Daryl's been with me. He's also the guy who makes the Ogoku hats. He's the CEO of Ogoku Hats, which we'll talk about in a minute. And he is doing the Tring 50K. So good luck to Daryl. Good luck to all our athletes. Always good. And then there's some 5K time trials and park runs going on, which I love as well.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah. So just a quick shout out to our partners. Thank you to Runderwear, Talk, Protein Works, Ugoku Projects, and True Start Coffee for supporting us. We love you. And if anybody is interested in getting discount with any of those and also getting their hands on a load of our content to help you with your running, we have a Patreon membership, which has got a whole bunch of stuff. I've been uploading so much great stuff in there to help you with your fueling, your nutrition, your strength, your running, your marathons, ultra marathons. Faye's got content in there around women's health in sport, and there's all sorts of amazing stuff, including those discounts. And for just $4.99 a month, you'll make that back just by getting discount with one of our partners. So please do join the Patreon membership. Just search Maximum Mileage on Patreon. So today's episode is about me.
Yeah, all about Nick today.
Oh, I'm not shitting myself at all.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, absolutely. So I am going to interview you, Nick, and we're going to find out a little bit about you. I'm going to use the term running journey, and basically, how and why Maximum Mileage came about. So I know that we often start with the why question, but I'm going to word it slightly differently in the sense of why running in the first place? What was it that got you lacing up a pair of trainers in the first place?
Yeah, so the short answer to that, one word answer, is suicide. So just to sort of give you a bit of a back history, I worked in hospitality for a very long time. I was in the industry, so from the age of 17. I was a really, really, really sporty kid. Should have played cricket at a very high level. Me and a guy called Mark Wallace sort of came up through the ranks and, played first team cricket until we were sort of 16. Around the age of 16, I was a very fast bowler. Mark Wallace went on to be the captain of Glamorgan, and I think he even won a few England caps So yeah, I should have kind of gone that way. But alas, I fell into a Saturday job in hospitality and started smoking at the age of 16. By the age of 17, yeah, I moved to Bristol when I was 17, and I was among bartenders and, quite honestly, lots of drugs and lots of drink. And I lived upstairs, above the bar I was at, with 6 other bartenders, and I smoked a lot. So yeah, my entire sort of sporting history went out the window. And yeah, sort of fast forward till about 2014. I was trying to think of this earlier, actually. I think it's 2014. I had worked I'd been abroad, which is where I met Alyson, my wife, in Dubai. We got back and we came back, and we were both still working in hospitality together. We ran a couple of very nice country pubs together, which soon stopped because working together as a married couple was a nightmare. And I went my separate way then. So I started working for Jamie Oliver. I ran his most high profile restaurant in Bath, most high profile one, certainly in the UK outside of London, because it was right next to the head office as well. The UK, in fact, the global head office. So I used to have all the CEOs and he'd be in there and I'm happy. So yeah, that was hard, really hard working for Jamie Oliver. He's a really cheeky chappy on the screen. He's an arsehole in person. He's a hard guy to work for. And then I sort of spent then a couple of years of just bouncing between, different hospitality operations roles, because I just kept going, well, I can't do 80 hours a week anymore. I'm knackered. Let's go and find another company who then promised you, you won't do 80 hours a week here. And I think back on it, and maybe I was the problem. And that's me being honest. Hospitality is a tough gig, but also me being me. I want to always do the best job, and I probably put myself in those positions to be there too much, too often. I'd be there sometimes cashing out at 3, 4 in the morning, and then back in the restaurant at 8, 9 in the morning on 6 days in a row, 15 days in a row, 30 days in a row. Sometimes it was a tough industry to be in. So yeah, they got to a point where I almost took my life. I was on the way home one day, and I took my seatbelt off and almost drove into an oncoming car. I had a moment of, I think, clarity is probably the best word to use right now, but I decided not to drive into that person because that was really unfair on them and their family. And then obviously, it was all just really unfair on Alyson and my family. And I thought afterwards, suicide is just such a selfish act. I think that's certainly the way I look at it. I think probably some people would disagree, but I went to see the doctor. That was kind of the best help that was available at the time. I think mental health has come on a long way since then. Even just 2014, it's only 9 years ago. Yeah.
A lot has changed in the last 10 years, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the doctor, he was very good, but, he did what doctors do back then and gave me antidepressants. And I got home, and I remember sitting there at the end of the bed that afternoon going, I had my Marlboro Reds. I used to smoke Marlboro Reds in one hand and the antidepressants in the other hand. And I was like, how the fuck have I got here? And I just had sort of a moment of fuck this. And I caught, and the other part of the issue at the time was I had a boss who was she was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. The only times I did take off, that's when she would call me to say, such and such is going on. Where are you? What's going on? And I just, I never felt like I could take any time off. So anyway, I called her up and I said, fuck you, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I was very lucky to get another job very quickly in recruitment. I know recruitment's a hard job as well, but it was 9 to 5. I worked for a lovely company, but I decided, instead of taking antidepressants and smoking cigarettes, that I thought I should probably do something for my physical health. And I decided to chuck a pair of trainers on and shorts and t-shirt. And when I say a pair of trainers, I'm talking about a pair of like Adidas Sambas, fashion shoes. That's all I had that resembled a running shoe at the time. So I went out, did a little run. I think it was like 0.4 of a mile. And I was like, I need to get some proper shoes. So I went to, I think it was Sports Direct, and got, is it Caramore? The Caramore brand shoes. Yep. They weighed a ton. But they were cheap, and I thought, well, I don't want to commit to anything bigger than this. And I used to live right next to some woods called Hodgemore Woods in Buckinghamshire, and I used to take my dogs running around the woods. and it just kind of snowballed from there. And and I just, it was kind of, I don't know, running was the first thing that came to my head. It wasn't, oh, I'll get a bike or I'll go skiing or I don't know, just, swimming. I don't know. It just felt like running was the easiest thing I could do. Because I remember I called my boss. I went, fuck you, I'm not coming in tomorrow. And a couple of hours later, I was like, I should probably sort my physical health out as well. What can I do? And I went, I can go for a run. That's easy. And I never thought of anything else. And I never have done. People ask me all the time, you're going to do an Ironman? No, no desire.
I suppose what's beautiful about running is the simplicity. And when you're in a complicated, overwhelming situation, the idea of putting on a pair of trainers and just taking yourself out of that space is incredibly powerful. And I think that is probably why you went for that, because it's literally, let's get myself outside and see how far I can go. And yeah.
I think it helped that day. It was a nice sunny day. I remember it being just a gorgeous day, and the field I sort of ran around, it was about the size of a football pitch, but it was actually a horse's paddock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. The horse was there, and the ground was hard and dry and stuff, and it just kind of made sense.
Absolutely.
There was no thought process about it, really. It was just, I've got to do something for my health. I'll go for a run. That was it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank goodness you found running in that way. And that was, literally that first 0.4 of a mile that you ran was the start of something for you. Mm. I mean, to go from that point with your Carrymore trainers from Sports Direct to, I suppose, deciding that you wanted to do a race, that's quite a different, that's a step for anyone. How did you go from that point of just running to improve your physical health to deciding I'd like to do a race? I'd like to be more serious about this running.
Well, it wasn't sort of quite as straightforward as, do you know what, I fancy doing a race. Somebody just told me about something called parkrun.
Yes.
And I was like, what the hell's parkrun? And they said, well, it's a free thing. Every Saturday, people just run around the park 5 kilometers. I was like, oh, right, okay. I've done a couple of 5 kilometer runs now, so I could probably go and do that. And it was Black Park Parkrun, my first one. I Googled it, just looked it up on the website. That was the closest one, and a beautiful one. Oh my God. I mean, it has got to be one of the most beautiful ones in the country, through Black Park, just north of Slough. Slough isn't beautiful, but just a beautiful place. I think they filmed parts of Harry Potter and Casino Royale, or one of the Bond movies in there. It's around the corner from whatever the name of the studios is. Anyway, so I went down there one Saturday, got asked about my barcode. I was like, what barcode? What's that? What do I need a barcode for? So my actual first ever park run, I think it was about 35 minutes. And it was hard. I was like, that was hard. I really ran, like I could tell everybody was like properly racing, and I started way at the back. I've still got a photo because it was a massive field as well. Black Park is really popular. It's like 600 people. I was like, whoa, this is proper daunting. So I started right at the back. Didn't have a barcode, so I don't actually have a record of that first park run time. I didn't even have Strava at that time, so no record of it. All I know is that I got to the end and somebody said, oh, that was about 34 minutes. So that was it.
Yeah.
And so went back a few weeks later, went off, did a bit more running, sort of went back 3, 4, 5 weeks later, I think it was, with a barcode this time, laminated.
Of course.
God, laminated. Got a laminated barcode. Oh, I mean, I've got a wrist barcode now,
I'm still on laminated barcodes. I'm on my last one of 6 that hasn't been dissolved by the washing machine.
So went back a few weeks later. I think I did it in, I think it was 26 or 27 minutes. And I was, oh, that's 10 minutes quicker than last time. And somebody went, oh, you got a PB. I was like, what the fuck's a PB? They said, you got a personal best. You beat your best time from last time. And I was like, oh, that's exciting. I wonder if I could do that next week. So I did. I went next week, and then and it became sort of a regular Saturday thing, and the PBs kept on coming, and I think I sort of then had it in my head, because went from 26 minutes to 24 minutes to 23, 22, and then a whole bunch of 21s. And then I started getting into the 20s, and I was like, right, now I want sub 20. And I started learning about these terms like sub this and all that. And eventually I think I got down to maybe 1940 something, I think it was. And I came second amongst 650 people. So it was at that point I thought, well, I'm smashing parkrun. I've got to be ready for a marathon.
Absolutely 100%.
I did do a half marathon, maybe 2 half marathons before I did the Brighton Marathon. But I went into the Brighton Marathon totally clueless. I did my first 2 half marathons, I think. Yeah, I think it was 2 half marathons. It was Dorney Lake and then Thorpe Park, which was not in the theme park. I was very disappointed about that. It started in the car park of the theme park, but it didn't actually go through. Yeah, it went through like the country lanes, even though they had the medal, which I've still got. There's a great medal, but it
got a roller coaster on.
It's all roller coaster and everything. Anyway. So I got like a 140, 144, and then a 138. For my first half marathons. And then I went to the Brighton Marathon. It was absolutely boiling. Alyson was pregnant with Max, like really pregnant. She nearly gave birth.
Oh my goodness.
Waiting for me to cross the finish line because I called her at 30K crying. Oh, I can't fucking do this. This is bullshit. I was broken, totally broken. It was so hot that day. There were people dropping left, right and centre. They ran out of water at one point. Yeah, it was boiling. I think I managed to drag my ass around in about 4:19, I think it was, something like that. Gone were my grandeur delusions of 3:30. I was running with a mate who was a 3:30, and I was like, yeah, I'll run with you. I can do it at 3:30. My training was shit. I didn't do anywhere near enough or structured enough. So anyway, it was at that point that I thought, well, do you know what? I really love this running stuff, so I'm going to learn about it. And for those of you watching the podcast, you can see a lot of these books, and there's a whole cupboard downstairs, and then a Kindle full of running books. That was kind of the start of me becoming a total running nerd.
No, that's great, and it's also really nice that you did take that step into parkrun, because it's got that social element and that degree of encouragement as well. So that person turning around to you and saying, "Oh, you've got PB," and being really excited and enthusiastic and kind of kickstarting that journey to the marathon. Because after a 5K, we're totally But it is that thing, isn't it? It's that you feel like you've run that distance, and it's saying, I could do anything now. I think running has this power over you where you go, do you know what? I could do that. I could do that marathon. I've only run 10K or 5K, but I could so do that.
Yeah. Not all heroes wear capes, some wear running trainers. Yeah, so you feel like a superhero, don't you?
You do. You absolutely do. You cross that line of the run, the park run, whatever it is, and you feel like you can take on anything, which I think is what's great about running.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, and just massive shout out to, I can't remember the guy's name that invented parkrun, but, I think parkrun just, it has that effect on people's lives. I know so many people who that's where they start. And actually, that's why, even though, my bag now is marathons and ultra marathons, I still love parkrun. I do.
Yeah.
I still love it. I don't do it anywhere near as much as I want to, just because I need to, because I do long stuff, I need to manage that sort of intensity and volume load. But I do love it, and I love using parkruns as a way of getting people I coach to do time trials. And I know you love parkrun; you're there almost every week, aren't you?
I will say yes, especially since we got our own parkrun here in Monmouth.
Yeah.
But I was quite adverse to it to start with. I didn't do, not because it's not great, because I was quite intimidated by the whole process. One, I hate 5Ks. And two, I was like, oh no, I don't want to go and run with other people on a Saturday morning as fast as I can. And didn't do one till 2019. So I was quite late to the party, but now I'm 100% converted. So yeah, absolutely. But coming back to your point about balancing training and, work, life, family. When you are training for your longer races, how do you schedule that? How do you schedule those training miles with your kids, with Alyson and everything else that's going on? How do you work that?
So I get pretty clear about when I can run, because I always laugh when I see people say, "Oh, I haven't got time to exercise." Just in general, given all the things I've got going on in my life with running a coaching business, being a dad of a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and all the stuff that comes with that, and the things that Alyson is going through, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. I always look at people and go, if I can find time in my life to train like I do, because I train 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day on, if I've got a run and a lifting session, then actually if I'm in marathon and ultra marathon specific weeks, I'll sometimes run twice a day on certain days. Now that isn't easy. There's the time element where I get really specific about when I'm running. I've got the support of Alyson, and I think that's really important for anybody sort of wondering, well, I want to run more, because whilst we need to balance it with our lives and busyness and all that kind of stuff, running more is going to get you better to a point. And having a supportive person in your life is absolutely paramount to that. There's no way I could train as much as I do without Alyson's support. Now, that's not to mean that I'm out of the house all the time and I know I never see them. I still get loads of family time.
Yeah.
I do run at lunchtimes mostly, so it doesn't kind of affect during the week anyway. And then I take Max to taekwondo and swimming on a Wednesday. They're like literally one after the other, so I can run while he's in taekwondo, because parents aren't allowed in the sports hall anyway. So that's an hour where I can go and bash out a good session, and usually speed work because it's right next to a running track as well. So that's quite handy. So it's about being quite clear about, right, when do I want to run? That's where when I sort of plan out my training over the coming months, I sit down and go, right, when do I want to run? And when can I run in those times where I want to run? And ideally, I try and take Sundays off now. So that is a total clear family day, totally focused on them. And then, evenings, if I don't train on an evening, all I'll do is sit there and tit about on Instagram or play Call of Duty. So, why waste my time sat around doing bugger all when I could be training? Because I spend most of my day sat down anyway, because I'm doing training plans and analyzing things and and what have you. So, but for me it's about planning, proper planning, and having that support network that allows me to be able to do it. And also just the mindset that if I don't run, because it is such an important part of my mental health, and I've been going mad over the last few weeks without being able to run, because it's such a big part of my mental health, is putting myself first and being a little bit selfish about that. I think you've got to be, there's that old saying, isn't there? Put your own oxygen mask on first. And
100%.
You've got to do that. Anybody who goes, no, family first, I can't run. No, bollocks. If you can't look after yourself, you can't look after your family. You can't. And actually, I think because of my, desire to want to do well with my running, and, I like, being competitive and whatever it means to anybody else. But, for me, I like to be competitive and see how far I can push myself. Actually, I am seeing that rubbing off on Max, particularly. Miles isn't old enough yet, but Max, he wants to be sporty and do well at things, but also with the underlying tone of, not putting too much pressure on himself, because it's not always about coming first.
No, totally. And he's loving his races. I've seen him run a couple of the kids' races at local events, and he's had a fantastic time. And I think, instilling activity, sport, exercise into the younger generation is so valuable. And it is I go as one of those people who went through school being, I'll do that. I was never the best, but I was willing to try it and give it a go. And I think that's one of the best things you can give a child, is that, that key to sport and exercise and how powerful it can be. So I think it's lovely.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I just wanted to, you mentioned balancing life and training. And the challenges that come with that. But you've obviously had quite significant challenges in the last few years with Alyson's health, and that has been had a huge impact on all of you as a family. And how have you found that has affected you in how you've approached, life, but also how you've approached your running and use that to help you get through that?
Yeah, it's been tough. Yeah, in March of 2022, Alyson was diagnosed with breast cancer. And actually, at the time when she got diagnosed, I went into this, I'm going to fix, everybody's health problems. And I started trying to become a PT for about 6 weeks. That lasted. I was like, my whole thing is going to be about getting parents healthy because, yeah, and I don't know. I think that's maybe the dad in me where I've got to fix things and, I was trying to fix everybody's health and hers. And anyway, back to properly running coaching. And yeah, it's been really tough because she, the first few weeks for a start were just so hard. She, by her own admission, she barely came out of the bedroom. She didn't want to do anything at all. There was a point where I almost thought she'd given up already. And every day felt like a week because we were just waiting to start treatment, waiting to hear almost like, there was good news coming. Anyway, after 3 weeks, I think it was 3 weeks, she started chemo, and that was a massive turning point. It was almost like as soon as the needle of the cannula went in her hand and that chemo drug started going in her entire attitude changed. She literally went from couldn't get out of bed, and I'm not kidding, I had to beg her to get out of bed on the first day of her chemo to go and have it. And she got there. She was just so frightened. Anyway, so yeah, she went through the chemo. Then she had surgery to remove the right breast. She had a right breast mastectomy, which all went as well as something like that could go. Her tumor went from 6.5 centimeters to 4 millimeters. So she reacted so well to the treatment, but also she threw everything at it in terms of, we got her an oncology nutritionist and tried using food to help combat it. And actually it was in a really weird way. And we say this to each other that last year, whilst we had that horrible news, we had a really good year. I mean, it was my 40th birthday last year, and she threw me the most amazing party in our garden. We had, friends and family around, just awesome. And we did some really good stuff. And then she had radiotherapy on the breast, and then all she then had from October onwards, and she got to ring the bell in October, to signify the end of treatment. And all she had then left were just this 3-weekly injection, which was supposed to end in May. And then in March of this year, she started getting some headaches. She just went for like 4 days where she'd had just headaches really. And then there was one evening she got up to go up to bed. We were just sat down and she said, "Nick, I can't see anything. I've just gone, everything's just gone sort of really blurry and blotchy." And so I helped her get her to bed, and then she woke up the next day and it was fine. But anyway, she met with her oncologist and just sort of mentioned in passing. It was just a general catch up with the oncologist, and she just mentioned to the oncologist about these headaches and this blurry thing. And she said, "Oh, well, let's get you an MRI. It's probably nothing. You just got fatigue that's built up over all the time you've been on treatment and the injection and all of that. So it's probably nothing to worry about." And then the next day, I was actually in Abergavenny. I was on the top of the Sugarloaf with my mate Ryan, who you've been chatting with on Instagram.
Yeah.
I was on the top of the Sugarloaf, and Alyson was calling me, and I answered the phone, and she sorry.
Don't apologise.
She said it's in my brain. So going to try not to cry on this. I'm going to try not to cry. But yeah, she said it's in my brain. And I just dropped to my knees, and my mate Ryan said, you need to get up. Let's get you home safely, which I wasn't listening to him because I've never run so fast down a mountain in my life. Remy Bonnet's Pikes Peak would have gone that day, I'm telling you. So yeah, I got myself home, and yeah, we are now dealing with her with stage 4 brain metastases. It hasn't gone anywhere else. On a positive note, she is doing quite well. We've had 2 update scans since, and both scans have showed that the drug she's on is working and the tumours are shrinking, and even some of them are disappearing, which is really good. So that's positive at the moment, and she's well, and
Yeah.
I can hear her downstairs doing her Friday clean. And yeah, we're trying to live life to the max now is kind of our attitude. There are days where it's really hard, but there's also days, lots of days where it's really good. And yeah, like I say, we're trying to live life to the max. And then to answer the question around where running fits into that, it's been, again, it's just been so important to me to keep myself in good shape, because hopefully not for a long time, but at some point I am faced with the fact that it might not be me and Alyson with the boys anymore. It might just be me. So I've got to keep myself healthy. I've got to.
Absolutely. And like you said before, you're setting the best example for those boys. And, both you and Alyson astound me with how you are approaching this. And like you say, Alyson is going at this with, both of you with huge amounts of positivity despite the diagnosis. And I think, yeah, you're both doing so well. And yeah.
No, she is. She's absolutely smashing it. She is. And yeah, when she got diagnosed, I had a sort of moment of, you only live once, so I bought a camper van, and
yeah.
and since then we've absolutely fallen in love with van life to the point where we're now upgrading but upsizing to a bigger one, so we can do trips to the Alps and the Dolomites, and hopefully next year, if I get into UTMB, we're going to go over to the Alps and spend 3 or 4 weeks there, and in the van. And yeah, we are trying to live life to the max. That's all you can do. I think we get so caught up in the hubbub of life that it's only when a tragic situation like this comes along that you think, fuck, life is fragile. It's short. It could change like that, and that's sort of part of my my running philosophy. For me personally, whilst I want to be competitive, and I'm hoping to get an England Masters marathon jersey at some point when I do the Manchester Marathon. I get the qualifying time next spring. I've got Lakeland 50 then in the summer, which I'd quite like to get a top 5 finish at. But ultimately, with all of that, I still run for my mind. My ass just follows.
Absolutely, and that's just shows what you've said, how powerful running is and how fantastic it is. And yeah, just brilliant. Let's talk about maximum mileage, because it's one thing to run and love running and compete and love it, but to take that decision to coach is a different ball game. I love the fact that you started training as a PT and then was like, nah. I've done it for 15 years. I know it's challenging.
I'm not going to lie, but weight loss clients are a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I'm more selective in my later years now.
Yes, I don't do people who come to me specifically asking, can you help me lose weight? I don't do that anymore. That was a mistake. That was a mistake for me. There are some people that are amazing at it. I've got
yes,
friends.
Yeah.
In fact, I coach a few PTs, or have coached a few PTs who specialize in it. They're very good at it and they love it. It just was not for me.
For me either, no. But yeah, coaching. What we sat there and thought, I know, I'm going to be a running coach. Where did that start?
Well, like I said earlier, I became a bit of a running geek. I learned as much as I possibly could about running to help my own running. That was the only reason it started, really. And plus, I'm just kind of interested in in the science. I'm not a scientist. I don't have a degree in, sports science or anything like that, which you do see a lot of coaches, not all. In fact, on the episode I did with Rick Prince, the coach who wrote the running certification is not an academic. She's just an Olympic level runner and coach herself. So you don't have to be a scientist, but I'm super into the science. And so that was kind of the start of it. And then in between my hospitality operations career, and actually during my operations career, and sort of now as a running coach, my profession has been learning and development, talent development, training and development. Yeah, my most recent full-time job was head of talent development. So I kind of have always had, I think, an ingrained love of developing people. And it's just always been that way, whether it was training a waiter to be a good waiter, or a bartender to be a good bartender, or a manager to be a good manager. And then, in some of the organizations I've worked in my corporate roles, just always loved seeing people develop. I mean, so, but then also kind of the third part of it was I have had several coaches. Some have been amazing. A guy called Mike Tate, I'll give him a shout out. I think he's on the board of Welsh Triathlon. He was fantastic. Loved working with Mike. In fact, he was my last coach that I worked with. Before I said to him, look, I'm going to become a coach myself. It sort of feels natural to break away from you. And but he continued to kind of mentor me, and I would ask him things and stuff. So, big shout out to Mike. But yeah, I'd had other coaches who weren't so good, and I won't call out any names because I don't want to get into any fights. But it also just, as I sort of got ingrained in the running community, particularly, with knowing people who had coaches, and you hear feedback from people, particularly around the communication side. And it just surprised me how many people, including myself, felt like communication was an issue with their coach, as in, I'd hear people going, in fact, I've had somebody come to me very recently saying, I've been coached by somebody for, just over 2 years now, and it's almost like she's disappeared off the planet. I haven't heard from her for 2 months. And what? Just nothing. He's like, she still puts my plan in Training Peaks, but I don't hear from her. No feedback, no analysis, no how are you? No, how was that session? No, we've got this race coming up. I want you to pay attention to this. All of that sort of stuff. And I just felt like perhaps there was, certainly I thought there was a gap in the market for a coach to help non-pro athletes, but they got a professional service. They got a pro level service. And that's what kind of got me thinking, well, I love helping people develop. I love running. I now know a lot about it. Maybe I could become a coach and be a good one, particularly, communicative and personable, and be able to relate to people. So hence I thought, well, let's do my qualifications. I became a leader in running fitness through UK Athletics with my running club. And I immediately enrolled on the coach in running fitness. I paid for that myself. And yeah, I thought, well, let's start coaching some friends. So I coached my brother-in-law, a 19-stone rugby player, from, I think it was a 49-minute 10K, which is still pretty quick for a bloke that size.
Absolutely.
Professional rugby player, 19-stone forward, got him down to 43 minutes. I was like, right, okay. And then a few other people. I was like, okay, so what I do is working. And I decided to let's maybe start it up as a business. Charge people some money, and maybe it'll help me buy some trainers, because Alyson used to moan at me every time I buy a pair of trainers. Oh, what are you fucking buying more trainers for? Well, what's this for now? What's this ultra running vest thing all about? And what's this coming in the post? And so I was, I'm sick of being moaned at. So I'll see if I can make enough money from coaching just to be able to, pay for race fees and pay for shoes and things like that. And then when I decided to set up the business, and I was thinking, what shall I call it? Well, my sons are called Max and Miles. And after about a week of racking my brain, I sat there at the breakfast table one day and I just looked at them both and I went, oh my God, Max Miles, maximum mileage. Yes. And that was it. And that's how maximum mileage came about. There was no, I literally jumped online straight away and I made a logo, and the logo that you see today is still the logo that I made myself, and set the brand guidelines, and just threw absolutely everything into it. And go back to my point around communication, that's kind of one of my biggest things that I feel I excel in is that communication piece. And you experienced it as an athlete before I asked you to become a coach at Maximum Mileage. And I touch points with every one of my athletes every single week without fail.
Yeah.
Without fail. There is always a touch point, even if it's just how are you? How you feeling? How's training been this week? That's a bare minimum. But even that's not enough for me. I sit and I analyze, and I really pride myself on being able to take the data from people's running, contextualize that alongside their subjective feedback, and actually put that into actionable points to make them better runners. And I'm really proud of where I've got Maximum Mileage to.
Absolutely. And so you should be. I mean, where you've taken it in a relatively short space of time, really.
Coming up to 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, where it is today is, phenomenal. Around the communication thing, I remember when I first started with you, I'd message you and I'd go, I'm so sorry for bothering you. I'm so sorry for bothering, because I hate pestering people. And you were like, you're not pestering me. You're not bothering me. And for me, being someone that likes to ask questions and get that feedback, that was a great thing. And definitely can be a testament to that. So
no, I say to all my athletes all the time, and I particularly when people are new with me and they go, oh, sorry, can I just ask a question? I'm like, please don't say sorry. The more you ask, the more you get out of your coaching, the more you pester me.
Really?
I want to be pestered. I just find that's another thing with coaches. I find it bizarre that coaches will charge extra money to be able to message them. I just don't get it, because you're not paying me for my time. You're paying me. You want to do really well at the London Marathon or UTMB or Race of the Stones or whatever race. I've got people in the States and people in Australia that I coach as well, and I'm not saying I have to charge you £1 for that message.
Pay as you chat.
Yeah. Oh, that's another £1.
Yeah, sorry.
Gosh, I'll be a millionaire with you, Faye.
No, exactly.
So no, for me, it's all about I will do everything I can to get you the best result that you want and deserve for the money that you pay me. There's no limits on how much you want to talk to me.
Absolutely. So to finish up, I just want to ask, what's the future for Maximum Mileage? What have you got? Anything exciting in the pipeline? Where do you see this going?
Yes. So as much as I love one-to-one coaching and helping people on a one-to-one basis, I also realize and not just realize, but I talk to loads of people on people interacting with me on Instagram, and I get asked a lot. In fact, I would say 2 or 3 times a week, I reckon, can you write me a running plan? And I say no. And people are like, I'll pay you. No, I'm not writing you a running plan, because for me, I have the saying, don't I? A plan is only as good as the day it's written.
Yeah.
Things need to change. So I don't like static plans. I don't like an off the shelf, here you go, I've written you a 20-week plan, because, in 6 weeks' time, you might get a cold and therefore the plan needs to change. So that plan that you've paid me 80 quid, or all of those plans on Training Peaks that are, $50, $100, whatever they are. Yeah, they look fancy. They look great. They look nice and neat, but that isn't how life works.
No.
So I'm not a big fan of doing it that way. But yeah, I am very aware that not everybody wants a full coaching experience. I'm also aware that some people can't afford a whole coaching experience. I am very aware that what we do is a luxury to a lot of people. We're not a life or death. It's not like you've got to pay your council tax or your gas bills. It's not like I've got to have a running coach. We are a luxury item. So, I do realize that people can't always afford it. So I also get a lot of people that want to work for me, but they do say to me, I can't afford to go that far, that far. So what is going to be coming down the line very soon is a membership where people will be able to get a custom written plan that will be delivered to them every month. And then at the end of the month, they'll get a check-in.
Yep.
And that will be the opportunity to say, how it's gone over the past month, and also if there are any changes for the next month ahead as well. So it's kind of bridging that gap between here's a plan and full coaching, because I will never write full plans. I will never there are a billion plans out there for free. If you want to follow a plan and you can make that work for you, you crack on. But that plan will never be a plan that was written for you unless you get somebody to write one. So if you don't have the knowledge to be able to, and actually knowledge and that self-regulation to be able to dial things up and down, because that's one of the worst things with a static plan is that you're like, oh my God, I've got an 18-mile run to do today and I am knackered. I can't do 18 miles, but I've got to because it says that on the plan and no one's going to move it for me. So off I go and do an 18-mile run and now I'm broken.
I have to say that is one of the most powerful things for me since I've been coached by you, is having that, looking at my plan and going, oh my God, I've got 16, 18 miles to do. I feel awful. I'm so tired. I've had such a busy week. I can't do it. And just messaging you and saying, Nick, this isn't going to happen. What can I do? Because I know in myself that if that was a fixed plan, I'd go and do it. And then I'd hurt myself or make myself feel worse. But just going, hey, Nick, what can I do? And having someone come back to you and say, right, today, you're either going to have the day off or you're just going to go out for half an hour, easy run, and that's it. But having that check-in to ask the question is one of the best things, because runners, we do tend to overdo it. We tend to overdo it rather than underdo it. And having that kind of sounding board is so powerful. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, membership. Yeah,
excellent.
If I can help people to run better without, you're not going to get that full one-to-one coaching experience. Like I say, not everybody wants that, but they do want some sort of guidance. And if I can offer that, it's going to be me and you, can offer that in a really good professional capacity. There's all these apps coming out like Runner and Cooper and Hal Higdon and all these apps that are powered by AI and all this. Oh, honestly, you still don't have a human being looking at your plan. And I'm actually starting to get people coming to me going, oh, I've been trying to follow Runner, but I miss a run, and then it adapts the plan, but it doesn't adapt it in the right way for me.
Absolutely.
I think that's where those apps are they're way off. And I think if we can offer that sort of membership type service where people will get a custom plan in a group setting, no, you won't get the one-to-one access to us, but we're going to help you. I'm really excited about that.
And you'll have the whole maximum mileage community there as well, which I think, if we go back to the start of this whole conversation about, parkrun and the element of community, that's an incredibly, it's such a great thing, isn't it? Having that opportunity to share with peers and encourage others and ask questions. And I think that's almost better than just having you and me. You've got this pool of people to engage with and chat with. So yeah. Absolutely.
Just going back to that communication point as well. It's also, I do shout outs. We just done shout outs at the beginning of this episode. We do shout outs in the Facebook group for everybody who's racing. We all cheer each other on. In fact, somebody today, one of our athletes today, has gone, hey, is there a Strava group that we can?
Yes, I saw that.
And you know what? I'd actually completely forgotten about that, because it was somebody I coach set that up.
Yeah.
But now everybody's following each other on Strava, and I was watching it going on this morning. I was like, this is really cool.
And no matter how hard you or deny that you're not really into Strava, as soon as that message came through, I was like, join.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And I think that's, another part of why, it works so well. So yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat today, Nick. I know it's not been easy in parts, but
sorry I cried.
Don't apologise.
Trying not to.
Don't apologise. But, it's just really nice to find out more about you and where it all started, really. So thank you so much, Nick. And I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Faye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
And that's another lap done on the Maximum Mileage Running podcast. Thank you for joining me and my athletes and my guests on this wild ride through the world of ultra, road and trail running. And remember, whether it's a mountain trail or the local road, every mile you conquer makes you stronger. Keep pushing, keep laughing, and of course, keep swearing when that hill just seems a little too steep. If you enjoyed today's journey, don't forget to subscribe and leave me a nice review. Your feedback does help me go that extra mile. Until next time, this is your host, Nick Hancock, reminding you to make every mile count. Run long, run strong, and run with maximum mileage. Catch you on the next run.